On stage and with us tonight is author Marianne Williamson. Thank you so much for being with us, Ms. Williamson. You said before this rally tonight, you said about the president's tweets, you said, I quote, "The president's tweets are more than racist. They border on rants of a fascist dictator." I'm wondering tonight, after hearing, again, an auditorium full of people chant, "Send her home," what do you make of it? Because you talk about the power of love, and that's what you're running with. That is what the power that you say motivates you. How does love deal with an auditorium of people chanting about an American citizen sent her home?
Sometimes love says no. The president's talk tonight was more than discouraging. The president's talk tonight was dangerous. And it's very important for Americans to see that talk. And for all patriotic Americans, whether we're on the left or the right, to be very clear that we don't do that in America. Our political opponents are not our enemies. You didn't hear talk like that from Ronald Reagan or from George W. Bush or from George Bush Sr. when talking about Democrats. That's not what we do here. And this is so far away from the traditions of democracy that when your former guests were trying to talk about, has anything like this ever happened in America? The question is not, has anything like this ever happened in America? We need to think about how it happened in Germany. We need to be very, very serious and take this very seriously, because the president has said this is how he's going to run this campaign. The way he was talking about 4 elected officials, these women are U.S. Congresspeople. We don't do this in America. And all people, whether we're on the left or on the right, need to be very, very clear that there is a level of honorable debate, and that is not honorable debate. That is the demonization of political opponents that are absolutely in every fascist playbook.
I should say the chant was "send her back," not "send her home." I misquoted it. But you know, again, how does you say love is saying no, but you know, a cynic is going to say, well, wait a minute, how are you going to go toe-to-toe with somebody on a debate stage who has no shame and who is willing to say anything about anybody and use any kind of division to get an advantage? No intelligent observer thinks that somebody, myself or anyone else, is going to have any more of a fair debate with Donald Trump than Hillary Clinton did. My conversation at this point is not with Donald Trump. My conversation is with the American people. That is where the decision lies. The American people need to decide whether or not this kind of discourse, and it really doesn't matter to me what the crowd was chanting. What matters to me is the words of the president tonight. And so the issue is not how I'm going to talk to him on the debate stage. You know, this idea of what does love do? If you look at the great religious traditions, the great spiritual traditions, that's where you see a recognition of what evil is. You know, in Christianity, yeah, there's the love and the resurrection. There's also a realization of the crucifixion. In Judaism, there's the deliverance of the promised land, but there's also an understanding of slavery. It was the religious traditions, it was the early evangelicals and the abolitionists who rose up and began, and the Quakers who began the abolitionist movement. And it was Dr. King, a preacher, a Baptist preacher in the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, who were the ones who drew the line. So the idea that those of us with a spiritual perspective don't know how to deal with evil, I think it's the opposite. I think that too many people in the traditional political establishment are not calling out and seeing the level of evil that's going on here. You said on the debate stage something to the effect of, all these people with plans, that's, well, let me play, actually. I think I have some of it. Let's play this.
Think we're going to beat Donald Trump by just having all these plans, you got another thing coming. Because he didn't win by saying you had a plan. He won by simply saying, make America great again.
You also said he won by tapping into something in people's brains of fear. So again, how do you combat that?
Well, 2 things I want to say. First of all, even in that part in the debate, I said plans as important as they are. Certainly public policy matters, plans matter, and anybody who goes to Marianne 2020 sees that I have plenty of policy positions. In terms of what I was saying about the president, and to be honest, Anderson, I think it was obvious tonight. This man is tapping into something in the psyche of people. He is not just a politician. He is a phenomenon, and an insider politics, just talk about plans, conversation is not going to defeat him. The only way to defeat a phenomenon is with another phenomenon, and the phenomenon that we need now is an uprising of love among people for this country and what democracy means and what it stands for. The only way to override that kind of hate is with a real love for each other. We love mercy, we love compassion, we love democracy, we love our earth, we love our children, we love other people's children, and we love our unborn great-grandchildren, and we will stand for that. And that is what I was saying that night, and after hearing him tonight, I say it even more forcefully.
You've moved to Des Moines, Iowa, and I don't even want to go into polls and stuff, but what do you hear love from people? I mean, people who disagree with you, you're out there talking to diners, talking to people. Do you say that there's a lot of love out there, or do you say there's a lot of fear out there?
You know, there are far more people who love in this country than who hate. The problem in the United States is that hate has been harnessed for political purposes. You know, I read in an interview where Jerry Kushner said that he had been at a McDonald's, which I always found fascinating, talking to his father-in-law. And he said, I see a lot of angry people out there, and we could harness all that and make you president. And when I read that, I thought to myself, there's so much love out there, there's so much dignity out there, there's so much decency out there. We could harness that and change the world. Far more people love than hate in this country and in the world. But what's happened in the United States is that those who hate, the racists, the bigots, the xenophobes, all of that, they hate with conviction today. They are strategized, they are energized, and unfortunately, they are energized by the President of the United States. Those of us who love must now love with the same conviction that is demonstrated by those who hate, because conviction itself is a force multiplier. We have to stand for love. We can't just sort of kind of love. We can't just love the people like us or our own children. We must stand for the children on the other side of town. We must stand for love for children on the other side of the world. We must stand for love as effectively and as passionately and with as much seriousness as that which is now unfortunately being demonstrated by some who hate.
Marianne Williamson, I appreciate your time. To be continued. Thank you.